Since no one else decided to edit The Incredibles 2 trailers into chronological order, I decided to do it myself, and now that it's done, let's analyze our way through as I justify why I think some shots go where, and how some parts could be wrong. If you want to see the full edited order for yourself, then click on the card appearing here or through the link in the description. So starting off, we already know that The Incredibles 2 jump starts straight after the first, so we've practically seen the start of the film already. The Underminer bursts out of the ground and reveals himself. The first shot I used has the underground damage of the digger, but even here I'm uncertain if this is exactly placed. On one hand, we see a car park clearly placing it over to where the family and the school are, but on the other hand, we see a savings loan establishment which could connect to the money vacuuming scene we see later. Or perhaps it's simply another hit that takes place before the Underminer makes his appearance. Up next is the digger digging out, and the Underminer rising above. Not too much to see here, but the cars are being uplifted and the buildings match between these two shots, so I'm pretty happy. And though it's super minor, the Japanese international trailer single-handedly gives us so much more content to look at, even though in this case it's just a few extra frames of the parents, and a rent-use space car park. Now here it seems like the digger is resubmerging itself, and we also don't see Mr. Incredible for quite a while, so I'm going to go on to presume he's in an underground sequence for a bit. And between shots, Elastigirl slings away and Dash dashes, leading to... back to Mr. Incredible, who's now fighting the Earth. He would have landed on the digger as it dug, so this makes sense for him to be here. Though this part could also be placed later in the scene too, towards the end of the Underminer's endeavors. Back to the car park, and Tony Reininger, Violet's innuendo-y crush-turned-date from the last movie, is running from the destruction before seeing Violet, whose running has led to nothing. She clearly had her mask on before, and now she's thrown it off. Things might not end too well for him soon. Dash, meanwhile, is trying to help where he can, looking out for people near the school building, or at least warning them to get back, I guess. At this point, Elastigirl is chasing after the digger herself, opting to use rooftops as usual to swing herself around. Mr. Incredible is likely on the inside at this point. As she lands, pay attention to this highlighted building, as we'll be seeing it again soon. Oh, there it is. Mr. Incredible has now joined Elastigirl up top. How and why he's there suddenly, I don't really know, but maybe he just opened the hatch and left, or maybe he got sucked out. Things are still kind of wishy-washy at the moment. Anyway, as the parents reunite, Frozone comes in to save the train. Not the day. Though that's all we get to see of him in this scene, really. Guess he's handling that for a while. But the chances of this shot not having Mr. Incredible shout Frozone! Yeah! Is little to none. And now the kids try to catch up. Here's Dash chasing behind the digger and saving an old lady from a car. We can clearly see actually between each of these shots. That highlighted building is now way over there, and right up next is Violet. Look behind her and you can see Dash and the old lady together. Violet has dropped Jack off here to get in on the action herself. But first, the digger breaches this bridge here, and notice a very small Elastigirl hopping up onto it. Mr. Incredible, I assume, is now running alongside the digger with a new plan. Now this shot here matches with Elastigirl's movements, and the building in the background is the same, and the sign looks right if it says city horizontally and hotel vertically, and yet these cars are clearly not in this position and are definitely going to fall off this newly destroyed bridge. Oh well. In preparation for that though, here's Violet using a new format of her powers to stop some debris from the bridge destruction. It's not directly afterwards, and we can't really see the building beside her confirming the city hotel sign, but the digger's not far past the bridge, though it's around this time. Unless there's two bridges. Let's not think about that. Mr. Incredible is now running alongside the digger trying to jam its wheels. Where he got the thing from, I don't know, probably the digger itself while he was away. The background also looks unfamiliar with signs I don't recognize straight away, but still, I've placed it here with the logic that there seems to be a lot of rubble and destruction just behind us, and with a slower digger, we can now see Violet catch up to the thing. Dash doesn't want Jack either, so passing it to the newly accomplished Mr. Incredible is the best thing to do. Though here everything comes together. The building in the back here matches the wheel jamming, and we can now see the city hotel sign, placing it next to Violet and her projectile. Typical. I can't take my time with this kind of project because more and more trailers keep coming out. Good lord. Okay, here's some extra frames on this shot. It's just one more word, so it's not really much. A tad later on, the four have banded together on foot at the end of the street, with Violet now holding Jack again. And at the end is the City Hall, or something equivalent. The big score, I guess. Everyone gets in as Frozone appears to finally halt the digger. Now at some point Elastigirl jumps in, but it's hard to tell where exactly, as she's not really seen after the Frozen Shibacle and the bridge destruction. Maybe it's long before, maybe it's soon after. I simply don't know. The Underminer appears again, now underground, beneath the street and laced with explosives. Maybe just before here Mr. Incredibles is trawling through the dirt. Anyway, the City Hall comes caving down, and the Underminer reaps the riches. Though we see very little of the kids inside here, Mr. Incredibles leaps ahead to tackle him, too stooped up in his own image to be smart. Though perhaps that's because this bit takes place at the start and this is the savings loan place. I don't know. And being sucked out shoots him either outside or out through the dirt again. There's a lot of options here, I think. Somewhat later on, we see a head-to-head battle, now with Mr. Incredible obviously winning. This looks to be much more of an interior digger environment rather than outside scavenging away. The safe itself here is different too, if it's even a safe. Perhaps as an escape pod or a prison cell. It looked kind of like Mr. Incredible punched his way out of it, so maybe it's just the storage unit of the vacuum and he couldn't get out until everything was taken into the digger. That makes the most sense to me. After winning, we see a breach in 12 seconds, and yes, it's that same spot. We see the same display in the background of the last shot. So in another shot to stop the digger, the parents manually tried to jam the gears from the inside. Are the kids involved here too? Also, now be aware that Mr. Incredible is all greasy. This isn't the case for the previous clip shown, which helped with ordering it all. Though it's hard to tell with that damn dirt sequence. And as an explosive climax, the family's all together and Vi uses her shield to protect them all. Though all these extra shots don't quite match up to me, unless one of them is reversed. And then they're caught. Same poses as the last shot too. And though we don't see it chronologically here, the family are all taken away with evidence of Frozone's ice, also helping with stopping the digger. Dinner time. Notice how this isn't the usual Parr family household, as this was very much unlivable after the last movie. Instead, they're at a little bed and breakfast, or something similar, with a small TV, dining table, and bed all in the same place. I did at one point think that the screensaver messages were being shown on this TV, but it also matches one we see immediately after it at a shop. This is pretty self-explanatory. Though fun fact, those Chinese boxes are a running motif for Pixar films, like the Luxo ball and the Pizza Planet truck. Also, I do like how the family are sat in the exact same positions as in the last movie's dining table scene.
The elephant in the room.
What elephant?
I don't think the elephant in the room is Helen's new job. I think it might just be that change in location or perhaps the identity issue we saw earlier, because in the next shot we see the parents wearing the same clothing that evening and only now hearing about this new guy approaching them. Introducing the DevTech building. There's the logo at the bottom, and this is totally not an ominous shot at all. I'm half expecting this to be used towards the end of the film with a sudden change in red or green lighting to reveal evil. In come the supers in their old-timey suits, because that's how they were known and recognized. Not as a married couple and third wheeler, but as their classic 20 years ago selves. I wonder if this guy's relevant though. Here's Winston Dever, leading a telecommunications company alongside unseen sister Evelyn Dever, a tech tinkering genius, though many have pointed out the connection between Evelyn Dever and Evil Endeavor. Or maybe they'll pull a Big Hero 6 on all of us. Anyway, up on the tower is a presentation booth, with that piano-looking thing being a couch on a turntable. See, there's the same table, iPad or clipboard thing, and backrest. Also, nice attention to detail is the visitor's passes everyone has. And once they return home, we have the evening discussion between Helen and Bob, which for the longest time I thought was way later, but actually the design of the headboard matches this small hotel room. So the family are moved to a new place, seemingly through the Devers, though that's the same limo as the end of the last movie. We can also briefly see the path that Elastigirl will later be driving down. Bob decided to wear the same shirt twice in a row for some reason. Maybe he was out fighting crime all night? Also, looking at this wide shot of the house, it looks like there may be a secret underneath the giant rock here, perhaps a stairway to the basement like we possibly see later. Naturally, Dash zips about, finds a remote, and...
Dash! Stop it! Stop! Don't touch...
There's a lot of intercoms around here. You'll see this plenty more soon. After settling in a bit, Elastigirl discovers her new suit. Here's the garage and another intercom. A splitting opening? You know who else had a splitting opening? Never trust a splitting opening. A splitting waterfall? You know who else had a splitting Heading to the city again, I decided to place this clip here as we just about see Elastigirl on a bike there, and it's the same daytimey weather. Going on board the DevTech plane presumably drops her off to a faraway location and perhaps also gives her a hero briefing or something. Later on, though I put it here because it keeps up with the bike, Elastigirl is seen chasing a train in the sunset. See, the tracks are visible in the previous shot too, and here she is again trying to stop the thing. It looks like they're going over a bridge, so it's probably destroyed again. It sure is a running theme with these films, huh? But there's a chance this whole sequence takes place the next day after. It's day one in the new house with happy weather, mostly smiles, and some fiberos. Vi is sleepy, Dash is ready, and Jack is curious. And now they're late for school. Dash scoffs down his food and Vi just abandons hers. It's nice to see the characterized differences. To the school bus! Thank you, International Trailer. Here's a quick clip of Jack watching TV, recognizing Elastigirl, even in costume and 20 years younger. I assume she's in the news now because she's debuted as an on-screen super once again. But maybe this takes place another day. And here, Jack is interacting with Bob and revealing his superpowers, or so I presume. Thanks to the latest trailer, I actually see that this shot is way later. Still, this next shot still lines up. Bob looks pretty content here, making me think that this is directly after the teaser clip we see here.
You have powers! Yeah, baby!
Though the time is completely different, the angle is mostly the same, and we have seen reused animations in the past. So that calls for an appointment with Edna Mode. Time to work out Jack-Jack's powers and get him sorted out. Nice and recent Incredible suits in the background too. Foreshadowing. Also, here's a quick shot of where Jack-Jack is at this point. He's happy, and judging by the matching backgrounds, I get the suspicion that this shot is actually flipped in the trailers. Though that makes Jack-Jack left-handed now. Though maybe that was intentional? There is a whole thing about being right-handed being better for marketing. I don't know. Here's Jack-Jack in the booth testing his onesie, I guess. Oh, that's a horrible frame to pause on. And it's Bob's first interaction with Devil Jack-Jack. My guess is if he saw powers beforehand, they were more simple things like eye lasers or teleportation, but now he'll see the more destructive abilities. Nice new Edna Mode merchandising and apparently a new car for Bob. It's sunsetting outside, so school's out. Time for some maths. Though I wonder if the static on the TV is something worth noting. Turning it off for homework, maybe it doesn't work, or something screenslaver related. Though I don't really feel like he's appeared yet. And another possibility is this scene is the one that matches with Elastigirl's bike scene, getting the kind of mundanity between Bob and Helen at this point. It's possible. Now this sounds like theming to me. All over Dusseldorf, Doozles are dozing, their eyelids so heavy they're drooping and closing. Eyes are definitely a motif along these films, what with the super masks, Vi hiding one eye in the last film, and here of course with the hypnotic screenslaver messages. Having the whole of Dusseldorf close their eyes or fall asleep could somewhat be a foreshadowing of the screenslaver's plans to control all of society in some format, targeting screens and eyes. Okay, here's a very quick shot of some static TV. Not in the hotel room, I don't think, but that shall be seen next. And these first few frames show off exclusive footage from the perspective of Elastigirl's bike. See how there's the bonnet right there, and I think even Elastigirl's logo. This could be the Deva channel showing supers more prominently on TV by literally giving them their own channel brand. Who doesn't want to watch supers, or even better feel like one by watching their every move from their perspective? After all, Winston does own a telecommunications company, so this would be pretty easy. It's a simple sponsorship. Though what's actually going on ahead, I have no clue. Generic car destruction from what I can tell. Or a giant laser beam, but probably not. The screenslaver matches Winston's head shape, but it could be another Coco twist. This shot is from within the par's new home. Who's watching at this point? We don't know. It could be Bob, it could be Jack-Jack while he's asleep, or could just be the kids doing nothing in the night, or no one's here and it's just being shown everywhere. I imagine though, it's Bob. He certainly wouldn't just sit back and let something as big as this go down quietly. Here's some classic hypnosis, particularly in the telecoms tower, or so I presume with so much studio space and crew. Also notice Elastigirl's already here, aware of the target perhaps and trying to stop them? After all, the best place to broadcast to everyone would be in this very building. And she's already prepared by not looking at the screen. Here's more of the screenslaver's message: supers are no longer in control. I am. This could both be referring to the literal hypnosis of the new supers we see later on, or if the Winston idea is still going, then even those not being hypnotized are under his control. Up next I think is her chasing the screenslaver out of the place, as he'd surely want to make an exit now. First scouting the target with a mic attached to her. Does she have a crew or is this just for TV? And leaping for this helicopter. Now I'm sure you've seen many people refer to this Lego set showing off the screenslaver is indeed piloting the thing. Also, think there's any chance that the screenslaver is made just to be a target for the supers? If it is Winston, perhaps it's all part of an act. He controls the channel and the supers, have them fight a villain, which is also him, to both add drama and views, and perhaps even drop them in the end, calling supers fake and claiming these action scenes were only made for entertainment. Just a passing thought. After seeing some of this take place on TV, probably before the actual hypnosis part, Bob calls Lucius with his apparent incredible special phone, which we possibly do see in the first movie. But I can't tell if it's red because of the lighting, and it definitely doesn't have their logo up front, so perhaps this is a Deva Delight? Which means someone could very easily be listening in. So will Frozone ever get a new suit, do you think? He's still got his ancient 20-year-old one. How's that mission go? Who knows. Day 2 in the new house, this time with pancakes, and the kids aren't so enthused. Perhaps a bad day at school, or boredom from not being able to leave the house? Maybe they felt left out after last night. Plus, Vi's got that whole Tony thing to sort through. Are they even in the same place, or have they moved schools and everything? Either way, Vi's grumpy, Jack-Jack's kinda bored, and Dash has way too many pancakes. Now actually, this sequence kinda confused me for the longest time because of this carton of milk, but I've managed to make it make sense. Bob is at the fridge before seeing a very disgruntled Violet. He holds the carton here, so it's straight after, and Vi is angry about something he did. Maybe sneaking off in the night, like it's a rule they all have to not leave, but he broke it while they had to keep it. Vi pushes past Bob, storms upstairs to get her suit. Bob cradles the milk. A tad later, Vi is back trying to destroy her suit. First putting it through the garbage disposal, there's that milk now planted on the corner, then ripping it manually because it's too strong, there's another intercom, until she gives up and throws it onto the wall where she's gone again. We finally have that adolescence line with that classic milk on the corner. Phew! No more of that day is seen, judging by Bob's clothing, though maybe the mama clip. So here he is asleep with Jack-Jack watching TV. What does he see? Could be more news, could be that screensaver message, could be Elastigirl in action. Either way, he seems pumped up by it, so it's probably some action. And along with that, he sees a raccoon. Now apparently, preview footage of Jack Jack attacking this raccoon was shown at a D23 presentation, but for the life of me, I can't find it online. But we do get this clip of Fire Jack Jack throwing a table at the now tangled raccoon. Also, the whole fire table thing is pretty impressive on its own, but notice his strength. That's a superpower in its own right. Just gotta wait for Helen's ability to pop up now that Bob's is taken. From the ruckus, I imagine Bob awakens and tries to handle a sporadic Jack Jack, taking them both outside until... Here's another one of Jack Jack's powers. He really can do everything, as now he can clone himself in an attempt to escape Bob and continue attacking that raccoon. I also like how there's one dopey one in the crew. And from there, the phone rings. There's an intercom. It's Helen, checking up at the worst possible time. Next time we see Bob, Jack Jack's gone, presumably teleporting away and about to be revealed in this panning shot. Now, I originally thought this might be the end of the conversation, but we actually see Bob hang up later. Now, I originally thought this would have been part of the conversation and more towards the end, but we actually see Bob hang up later. So I think it may be the case that Bob is woken up by the phone, sees the Elastigirl footage and realizes Jack Jack is missing, meaning this is what he was watching, encouraging him to leap into action. Maybe. Bob looks pretty disappointed though, rather than frantic that Jack Jack is going crazy right now. He could just be unperceptive though. After the call, Bob is defeated to some degree. It's not going too well. Day 3 and it's time for another Edna Mode visit. Jack Jack's a little out of control after all, though whether anything comes out of it, we'll never know. So time to show off Jack Jack off to Lucius. Though the kids are also here, we don't get to see them react much. I guess they're just looking off in their own ways, or they're like hypnotized to be grumpy? I don't know. Also, more news on the TV. But also notice that these two shots don't perfectly line up. He sat on marble here, and then the couch here with the remote. Guess he moved from the stairs here, and everyone just turned around to face the couches here. Dash and Bob are reacting to something. It could simply be Vi, since we know she's in this scene at this time, though I can't really tell if there's anything in that part of the room, so it could just be that. No TV or anything. Not that I can see. And later still, now with the kids, Jack Jack sneezes away and almost into water. The latest trailer shows us Dash is pretty pumped up about this whole ordeal. And this is the only shot we see of a wet Bob. What's Dash found with the remote? Because it's certainly not the couch scene. Perhaps he's found the garage entrance and so foreshadowing the car that they later have to work themselves. Here's a shot I have no clue where it goes. It's clearly a suited man, probably Winston Dever, opening up something new. Don't know what it is, when, or why, but it's there. Something super related turned evil later on, I guess? Maybe some statue. So with the new trailer, we can now see an extra celebrational event for Elastigirl as a super, which to some degree works alongside this opening clip. So I guess it's some kind of super establishment. Here he is in his office, just chatting, definitely not saying what we hear and with a creepy face at the end. Here's Dash and Violet concluding it's just up to them for something. Don't know exactly what's happened to the parents at this point, but they're gearing up in their suits. But not given enough time to put on masks as the action picks up in the next shot. The new trailer shows us this new footage, and the new trailer shows us Dash's reaction. True art. You ever been so excited your legs fling above your head? And here's the new superheroes, though judging by how we can literally see some of the family flung away from them, it's pretty clear that they are our new super villains. We've got He-Electrics up front, having the power to shoot lightning bolts from his fingertips, Brick to the left, being the muscle of the group, and Void at the back, able to make literal voids to make things disappear. Notice how everyone's wearing hypnotic goggles? It seems to be the case that these wannabe superheroes are under control of the Screenslaver, and thus are unnaturally turned to the bad side. Also, where are we right now? Guess this is just at their base or something? Certainly doesn't look like a house. Or how's about that place through the void? The architecture looks kinda similar to this place, which is simple enough, but it could be the Par's house. Somewhere in the exterior maybe? Though that would assume that it's like sunsetty time. And actually, from what I can see, that's everyone being blasted away here, Frozone included, but not Dash. But maybe I'm just missing him in this frame somewhere. I imagine this is actually in the Parr family household because of the latest trailer that came out. And here's the house invasion, starting with Brick being somewhat thwarted by Frozone with the kids following behind, followed then by He-Electrics being blocked by Violet, who's protecting herself, Dash and Jack Jack, and when Dash runs, he's attacked by Void. Take it away in a bit more detail, naive me from this morning. And now here's the interesting stuff. That evening, or sometime around I imagine, the kids are attacked in their own home. Damn intercoms. Trying to run away, Dash keeps running through portals leading to the same room. This could be due to Jack Jack's teleportation powers, or more interestingly, is the work of a new supervillain.
There are a handful that have been revealed in some capacity. The big one at the moment is Void being able to do this exact effect. And notice how the kids are in their suits but not got their masks on. They are somewhat caught off guard, even though they can put on their suits for some reason.
Either way, to escape the attacker, they access the garage and use the closest car, which could very well be Mr. Incredible's car from 20 years ago. And yep, that's just the kids in there. Where's Bob? I don't know. Maybe this is the same night as the screenslaver, or at least Bob's intervention, hence why Vi's angry the next day. But I doubt they'd stay in the house if this was the case. But perhaps the whole plan behind our main villain is to separate the family and weaken them. Take Elastigirl away from her kids and have Mr. Incredible forcibly held back until he can no longer. Move the family into a new house where you can fully keep an eye on them, and take Jack, the newest super with the literal power of the jack of all trades, to truly become the most unstoppable person in the world. Well, that's my thought at the moment, at least. Elastigirl's flying a plane again. It's sunsetting, but she's in her new suit. So perhaps this is closer to the real deal, after the attack on the kids beyond abandoning the Deva attire. And this isn't just within the car, this is within the car and attached to that plane. Now? Don't know what's happening now, but we've changed location to a cruise, or at least a boat. What's the plan? I guess escape? Getting away from this location the Devas have taken them to? I don't know. But I do know we get an extra view of this place from a quick clip of Dash punching the camera. Good stuff. And I think that's the latest we get on the timeline. Where do the other villains come in? What crazy combination of powers will we get this time? And will Frozone get that new suit? Find out next time, or something like that. If you like this video and want to see more content, perhaps actually discussing what abilities we could see in the future as well as general film stuff, then do be sure to like this video and share it with people who are as big as an Incredibles fan as us. And if you have alternative ideas for how this plot may unfold, then do comment them down below. Speculation is always what I do best. Anyway, this has been quite the ramble, and I'm surprised no one else has done it this much before me. And I'm way late. Oh well. Hope you enjoyed. My name's been Daz. You didn't really care, and I'll see you in a bit.